Soap Shoes 101. I'm your instructor, Ryan Jaunzemis. You guys can call me Ryan J. The game has changed, gentlemen. The game has changed. It's not 1997 anymore. It's 2015. The tricks have changed. The shoes have changed. The community has changed. Most importantly, Soap Shoes is out of business in 1999. The only place you can even buy shoes now is on eBay or a little site called rock.com. Some models of the shoes are upwards of $600 and even $1,200 now. But the sport itself of soaping is far from dead. There's people all over the planet in little groups here and there that are still getting down, that are still grinding, that are still doing the thing. So I wanted to put out this video, update you guys on what's going on, give you guys a few insights, a few tips and tricks to help you step up your game on the streets. So I want to welcome you to the new Soap Shoes video Tricktionary. So what's the point of all this? What's the point of soaping? I think that's an issue that was never really discussed publicly. Is it just for rollerbladers? There's been a lot of misconceptions about this in the whole skating community. Now when I say skating community, I'm not just talking about aggressive inline skating. We're talking about skateboarding, BMX biking, razor scooters, Heelys, anyone that goes to the skate park. They were originally designed for anyone in the skating community to rock soaps, because soaps, being what they are, shoes with concave plastic grind plates in the bottom of them. See, when you wear these, you just represent to everyone who skates that you are, in fact, a skater. So again, what's the point? I'm sitting in history class and I'm rocking my soaps. Some dude that I never met could be on the other side of the class. Oh shit, you got soaps on. Do you skate? Do you skateboard? Oh, actually I blade. Oh, tight, dude, we should skate. You get it? This thing can allow me to meet other skaters, and it forms like there's a bond, you know, people in the skating community. When we go out, you know, grinding together, whether you're bladers, skateboarders, whatever, like, you know, we have a, it's almost like a tribal type of belonging. It's a little different than the outside people. The people out there outside of the skating community, you know, they're going to school back and forth. They got their little after school job. They're not really doing anything. We're out there grinding. We're out there busting handrails, busting our fucking ass, trying to get sponsored, you know, having a good time, smoking weed, drinking, chilling, you know. We're doing big things. Other people outside the community, they don't know anything about that. They don't know what it's like to be a skater. So when I wear soaps, it doesn't matter if I'm a skateboarder or a blader. It's just saying, hey, I'm in the skating community. I grind. That's how I get down. And if you want to get down with me, you notice my soaps. Now there's other things. I might, when I was a blader, that's how I actually got sponsored by soap, is because I was a pro rollerblader. I wore things like Senate sweatshirts, 976. I wore skating brands. Other skaters recognize that. You guys that are skateboarders wearing Birdhouse, Etnies, anything by Tony Hawk, another skateboarder is going to recognize you. You know what I'm saying? So in this game, first and foremost, when you wear them, it's cool to represent that you are a skater. Now, check this. I'm in 5th period history class. You're in there too. You just saw my soaps. We just struck up a conversation. I never met you before, but you got soaps on too. Maybe you skateboard, and maybe I blade. Doesn't fucking matter. We both got 6th period gym. Now, let's say there's a handrail outside and we want to fucking grind. Well, we're walking from 5th period gym, 5th period history to 6th period gym. You know what I'm saying? Instead of me having to go to my locker, take off my fucking shoes, strap on my blades, ratchet them up, tie them up, and then go out to hit that handrail, and after I'm done, have to go back to my locker, unratchet my skates, untie them, put my shoes back on, and then head to class. If me and you are wearing soaps, like, fuck it, bro. Let's go hit that rail on the way to gym. We walk down the stairs, we go soap the rail, we have a good time. We grind it for a few minutes. Fuck, I might be working on my new unity grind. You might be working on a 50-50 grind. You can practice it on your soaps until you are in a place, after school when you actually have your board to do your real sport. You know what I'm saying? My mother sport would be rollerblading. I'm always still a rollerblader, but I got my soaps on while I don't have my blades. I can't always have my blades on. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling down by the beach. I'm fucking camping in Yosemite. I'm not going to be skating around a fucking hiking trail, right? It's a dirt trail, but there's still rails there. You go to Disneyland, you go to Magic Mountain, there's fucking dope-ass red rails by the Ninja Ride. You know what I'm saying? But you're not going to go to Magic Mountain wearing your blades. You're not going to go to Magic Mountain with a skateboard, but you might still want to hit those rails. So if you got soaps on, perfect opportunity to grind. See, you're able to hit rails that you can't naturally hit. Okay? One of the things I used to love to do, I'd be walking on my way to school, and there was a neighbor, and behind his fence in his front yard he had a bird bath. Obviously, I can't skate across grass to grind his bird bath, but as soon as I had soaps on, boom. I fucking would just hop over his fence, grind his bird bath, and then head on my way to school. See, back in the day, when I used to blade, I was so addicted to grinding, and this is back in 1996. Some nights, rollerblader friends of mine, my good friend Danny Lynch, who was also sponsored by Soap with me, we'd have a pizza party, sleep over at the house, playing video games, after a skating session. And we'd be sitting in my bedroom just like sliding. I had a waterbed, and it had these wooden frames. And we're sitting around in pajamas with socks on, and we'd be jumping off on the bed, just sliding across it on socks, because we were young, we had curfew, couldn't, unless we snuck out of my window, and when skating, we'd still just, we couldn't stop grinding. We'd be like sliding across the side of the bed. There was times I was at some high school house parties, and we'd be just kicking in the backyard, me and a couple friends wearing soaps, and we're just drinking beers, smoking out, and there'd be like a little curb in the front yard. Obviously I didn't like show up to the party with my skates. I'm there in my party clothes, but I was still wearing soaps. But then we'd like get all fucked up, and a couple of us would just session on the curb, like, oh, check out this new grind, have you ever seen this? Oh, what? And it was just good times, bro. Like, and that's really what it's about. For example, this one time, I was with a couple skaters. We're at this party. You know, this is back in high school. We're just sitting there drinking, smoking, hitting the jacuzzi. We had this like, we made this beer bong, and the top of it on the funnel was on the balcony, and people would be pouring beers, and it would go down this, you know, long ass little piece of hose that we got from Home Depot, down into the jacuzzi. We'd be taking these, you know, just beer bonging out there. I'd get all fucked up, and then we'd go out on the front porch, and we would just session on the curb, because we didn't have our skates with us. We're at a party, you know, we're wearing party clothes and shit like that. But it was just fun. You might walk into 7-Eleven, and they got the yellow things that say caution, like, because they're just mopping the floor. Now, as a skater, you know, a regular person outside the community, obviously they're gonna walk around it. Me, I see that and I'm like, I gotta hit a set slide across that. I'm not gonna do that in my Jordans, my fucking, you know, $200 pair of fucking Jordans. I want to keep those fresh for the court. But if I got soaps, you know, soaps are skate shoes. They're meant to grind, they're meant to get dirty in. So I'll go ahead and hit that. I can fuck around like that, keep my Jordans fresh for the court, you know what I'm saying? It's fun, you know, you get funny reactions and shit. Old people will be like, you know, how do you do that? I'd be fucking with them, telling them I'm a wizard. You know, sometimes they're like, soap shoes, did you put soap on them? A lot of times out on the street, I'd get like mad haters talking like, you know, get a fucking skateboard, fag, or they'd be like, you know, why don't you guys just rollerblade? See, those are the people that didn't get it. You know, the point wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a soaper. It's, I'm a rollerblader, but I don't have my blades right now. You can't have your skateboard or your blades all the time. You know what I'm saying? If I'm out, you know, grocery shopping, you know, I'm not fucking skating through the aisles, you know, putting eggs and fucking bread in my basket. I'm walking with my cart, but I got soaps on. Oh shit, look at that. Look by the milk. There's the little ledge, you know what I'm saying? That you know, they usually have those metal ledges, or inside Walmart, like the freezers, the ground freezers. You can jump on that and grind that shit. I'm fucking in the middle of shopping. Boom, there's something to grind. I can hit that right there. Or other people are like, you know, why don't you just get a skateboard? Well, I don't have my skateboard with me. Makes sense? In the end, the main thing of soaping is just a funner way to transition from point A, where you are now, to point B. So when you guys get a box of soaps, like I said, now you can really only find them on eBay or rawk.com, R-A-W-K, and there's a couple other sites if you look close. There's a guy named Greg Krellin in Australia. He runs the Melbourne Soapers Facebook page group, and sometimes you can get an interesting pair off him. I just got these. These are brand new ordinances, brand new in the sense of, you know, they're 15 years old, but these go for about $600 on eBay, but pretty pristine condition. Anyway, when you get a new box of soaps, you can have your soaps, your grind plates, laces. In the box, they're going to come with a soap key. It's a regular hex wrench, you know, but it's the soap's actual key, and you're going to get a little instruction booklet that basically says some bullshit that soap is not responsible for any injuries. On the bottom of the grind plates, if they're brand new and have never been used, they will have a warning sticker. You just peel that off, toss it. Interesting thing. So this key, if you notice on the, these are the older style soaps. These are clean version. You'll notice on the grind plates right here, you see, on the top of them there's still one piece. Meaning, if I want to replace this plate, I'd have to undo all three keys, and to do so is kind of a pain in the ass. So Soap later came out with something called the quick release plates, which is why with these ones they're not fully connected. This way I can just undo one, pull it out, and replace it back in. Soap also had some other models of plates that are called the Maxwells. Really hard to find, but what they did is they continued the rubber sole, and they basically turned Soaps into regular tennis shoes. But what was interesting about the Maxwell plates is that they were hollowed out inside, so you could keep things like you know, lunch money or drugs, whatever. I used them a lot of times to smuggle ecstasy into a lot of different raves throughout Los Angeles, and it was pretty good times. So that's how they're gonna come. Make sure that you hang on to your soap key. You guys probably, if you've seen any of the old videos, I used to always wear it on a lanyard. That was my steez out on the streets. So when you get a new pair of shoes, they're going to be set up pretty much like that. Now, before you go out sliding, I'm going to give you guys a few tips and tricks to soup up your soap shoes before you go out. So stay tuned. When you get the soaps out of the box, before I even like to go out on the street, the first thing that I want to do is that soap comes with these shitty, you know, sole liners, okay? They're worthless. The first thing I would recommend that you do, get rid of them, okay? You notice this is a plate of rollerblade downtowns. These are the new skates. I just got these old vintage shit. But if you notice, the lining inside, look how thick that is, okay? If you guys are jumping stairs, doing like mute grabs, stale Japans, anything like that, personally me, I like to come off of a rail, and I usually like to do a spin into and out of the trick. It makes it a little more flashy, it's a little more fun. I might want to jump up on the rail 270 Backside Royale and then come out, you know, 270 stale Japan. I might want to hit a rewind, mute, anything like that. And I'm going to be taking a really hard impact. I might want to just jump an 8-stair gap, 4x4 gap, hit a mute. And the impact's going to be like incredible with these shoes. So what I like to do inside is just one. I'm actually using two. This is a Dr. Scholl's massaging foot pad. You see that right there? Real smooth. These come custom size. You just cut them out. I put those at the bottom of the shoes. This is a heel instep. It has a real soft cushiony thing. So this is going to basically take the place of the liner. Even like in ice skates, you're not taking so much of an impact because you can only go so high. Since, you know, I've been doing figures since I was like 8 years old, and even though you're only jumping and you're maybe getting so high, and maybe 36 inches, maybe a little bit more, if you're doing, you know, loops, axles, anything like that, you still got a lot of fucking padding in here. Look at the size of this heel. All of this is made to take impact. Down here, on figure skates, like this kind of wood right here is made to bend. It's made to absorb the pressure. Whereas with soaps, you know, you only have so much padding, and this is not, it's not really adequate. The sole of a shoe is pretty hard, you know. But personally, that's what I like to do. That's what I've always done, and it's really helped me with my jumps. So I would definitely recommend that. It's definitely helped me with my performance out there on the streets, and I think it will help you guys as well. Anyway, try it, see how you like it. Now when it comes to getting a groove, there's a lot of different ways to do it. the best way that I would recommend, if you have access to it, is a disc sander or a spiral sander. I like to put the shoe onto the disc sander and then grind it down all the way to the rubber on all four sides. You want to make sure you hit the outside and the inside. Okay. And notice when you do front sides on rails, once you have a really big groove, the rubber will kind of dig in. See, the plastic will allow you to slide, but the rubber acts as a braking system. So this concept of friction reduction is what allows you to, have control and balance. You know what I'm saying? So when I do those backslides, those one-footed grinds, I have a huge groove in my left, the outside of my left shoe. Therefore, I'm basically just sticking to the rail, and then the plastic is allowing me to slide smoothly down it. Now, if you don't have a disc sander, you can usually go to Home Depot. They'll let you use it, but they might charge you a couple bucks, and they'll look at you kind of funny, like, what the fuck are you grinding your shoes for? If you don't have a disc sander, the next best thing is to find a really rough ledge, kind of like this one to my right here. And what you're going to do is you're just going to run out a groove. I'm going to hold the shoe, I'm going to press really firm, and I'm just going to run along the ledge and allow the ledge to wear the plastic down. Now, it doesn't just happen with one pass. It may take you up to a half an hour per side. You know what I'm saying? You can spend a good fucking hour or two just getting a groove. Trust me. The results that you're going to get is worth it. And if you don't, there's no possible way that you're going to be doing one-footed grinds through kinked handrails. Remember, guys, you want to run out a groove. You don't want to just stand stationary and do this. That'll take forever. Run out a groove. Trust me. Take a look at these soaps. This is what a proper groove looks like. Okay? Notice how it's nice and grooved in all the way to the rubber. All the way. That's what a proper pair of soap shoes should look like. Remember, if you want to do the big tricks, okay? The big fucking rails, one-footed grinds, backslides, fast slides, you have to get a groove. There's no other way around that. Okay? Remember, the shoes in their normal form were not designed for such aggressive moves. They're just designed to slide on curves. In fact, the people that made soaps, that's a company called Concept 21, who designed them, basically just designed soaps for kids to kind of play around with at the beach. And that's cool. If you just want to, goof around and do little front sides, that's fine. But if you're really serious about doing the big tricks, if you want to be pro with this shit, you got to get a groove. So the first thing, like I said, get some padding in your shoes, run out a groove, and when you get to that point, you'll be ready to hit the streets. We're going to do exactly that in part 2. We'll see ya. Alright fellas, check it out. Right now I want to talk with you about how to catch air. So what's going to happen when you're going for a jump, okay? Whether you're jumping a gap, that's an area that is, it could be a flat in between two sets of stairs. It could be a gap 4 4 stairs, a gap, and 4. You might want to jump the whole thing. You might want to jump down from the top part to the gap and then maybe hit the ledge or the rail that's right there. You can throw a little stunt in between. You might want to be jumping over an obstacle, perhaps a cone, a planter, maybe a shrub, a rock. And these are little things you can put into your lines. We're going to get into that later. There's quite a few different variations, forms. Again, these jumps, like the grinds, are really just stances. It's just that you're moving your body into a certain position while you're airborne. Now, the first jump that I want to talk to you guys about, this is the most basic grab, okay? This is called a safety grab. Now, what's going to happen? Remember, I'm regular footed, so I'm going to be using my right hand. You guys that are goofy, you're going to be using your left hand. As my body leaves the ground, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to grab around the outside of my right foot. And in this position, I'm going to be balled up like this, and I'm going to be traveling through the air until it's time to break away for my landing. Alright guys, the next grab I want to talk to you about is called the mute grab. Now, a mute grab, what I'm going to do is a regular footed, with my right hand. You guys that are goofy footed are going to be using your left hand, crossing the opposite direction. I'm going to cross over my body, over the shins, as my body folds into this position and then bends the legs. I'm going to cross over my shins and grab the outside of my left foot. I'm going to hold this position until it's time to land. Carry on. Alright guys, the cousin to the mute grab is called the parallel grab. Rather than when I did a mute, which my body was contorted this way, my feet are going to turn the opposite direction. And I'm going to cross my hand over my quadricep area and grab the outside of my opposite foot. And that's a parallel grab. Alright guys, the next grab I want to talk to you about is called a stale Japan. Now remember what I mentioned in the grinds? Remember when I was doing that backslide, but I was grabbing it from behind? As I mentioned before, anytime you grab your foot from behind, the trick is automatically known as stale. Therefore, when I do a stale Japan, what's happening is I'm actually grabbing behind my foot, and the other foot looks out like this. It almost looks like a kicking grab. Also related to the stale Japan is called the Liu Kang, named after the fictional Mortal Kombat character. On a Liu Kang, I'm going to jump. I'm actually going to kick out. Boom. And just like the safety grab, I'm going to grab the outside of my right foot. I'm then going to pull my foot back in before I land. The interesting thing about this Liu Kang grab, okay, is it's actually a switch up within itself. Notice that I don't just jump and grab and unfold like a regular jump. In the Liu Kang, I jump. It's almost like doing a safety grab, kick, a fast kick, and I'm right back to safety position before I land. Okay? In real life, it's boom, 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 boom. Okay? You see that? It was like 4 different movements into one. The last grab I want to talk to you guys about is called the rocket grab. This is one of my favorite grabs. In fact, it gets pretty intense. So if you guys are bladers, you know what a fish brain grind is. Like the fish brain grind, I'm going to be extending my foot outward. My other foot's going to be tucked up just like it was in the safety grab. Therefore, the grab in the air is going to look like this. Another variation of the rocket grab is if I want to do an inside rocket grab, I'm going to grab the inside of my foot. when you got the rocket grab down, okay, and you're ready to step it up and take it to the next level, you can go do a double rocket. Both feet out, extended outwards. If you're ready to crank the heat up to the maximum and put this oven on full broil, you can try a double cross rocket outside grab. Make sure that you hit yoga class because it's a hard stretch. Alright guys, that's all the grabs I have for you in this segment. Get out there and catch some fucking air. Right now we're going to talk logistics. Now check this out. Here I am. I'm in a library. But any other day of the week, this place would be packed, right? There would be cross traffic coming in here from the road. People would be returning books. People would be checking out books, whatever. So you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I mean, this is serious business. Okay, this is the deal. Today is a bank holiday. It's actually Martin Luther King Day, meaning that this place is closed. And it means that there's no security guards. It means that there's no cross traffic to get in your way. And I can soap all of these obstacles that I normally couldn't get to. For example, those ledges right there. That shit is a prime soaping location. It just needs a little bit of wax. So we brought that. We're going to make that shit happen. Over here, you'll notice there's some benches. So right here, there's a couple benches right there. Those have actually never been grinded. There's no wax residue. In fact, it's over rock, so a skateboarder wouldn't think to go there anyway. So again, those are virgin benches. They've never been grinded. Okay, we're going to hit those up. I want to talk about a couple other things as well. If you notice, you'll see different zones. There's a red zone over there. Okay, that's for emergency vehicles. We've got a blue zone. That's for handicap. We've got regular curbs like this, just the cement curbs. Okay, that's loading, unloading, parking. Then there's other zones like white zones for the mail. There are black zones I've even seen. You usually see them at gas stations. Each zone has its own unique function in society. For example, if I wanted to soap on this blue zone over here, the handicap zone, that's a pretty good spot to session, meaning the fact that, you know, only handicapped people can park there and not a lot of handicapped people really show up. There's handicap spots at 7-Elevens, colleges, and those are really good spots to wax because no one is going to come up and park there. For example, like this curb right here, this is a beautiful curb. This is a great session spot, great roll up, great roll off. I could session here all day. But on a Monday, you know, any other day of the week, cars might just keep parking there, then they move and they park, or they might park there all day and I can't even get to it. I might wax up that curb and then it's useless because I walk by, I want to skate, I want to soap, can't use it, it's unusable. You know, all of this right here in the front, people park there, you got little securities, golf carts, whatever, you know, versus like a red zone. For example, over here, there's red zone over here. That's only emergency vehicles. So how often does an emergency happen? Not too often, you know. Especially like at a library, unless the place is on fire, you know, nothing's gonna come of that. So these curbs right here that are red, I could wax that and I could just grind there all day because I know no one's gonna come and park in front of it, you know. Versus if I saw a green zone, which basically is between like 5 and 20 minute parking, depending on like what state you're in. Well, I could wax that up, but then all of a sudden, you know, just when I get to sessioning, some car comes and pulls in, you know, and I have to stop and wait, go do something else. And then they leave, and then I go back to sessioning, and then some other car will pull in for like 20 minutes, and then they'll leave. Same with the white zones, and those are real fast. Like, they pull up for 5 minutes, they drop up their mail, They, you know, or they're like at an airport. I like to sarge at the airport a lot of times, but in the white zones, you know, you get some car pulls up for 5 minutes. I have to stop. I wait for them to leave. Just when I start sessioning, another car will pull in. So logistically, you really got to think about where you're going to session and where you're going to settle. Like right now, I'm going to wax up these ledges, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to session here for a while and kind of just hang out. And I know that I'm not going to be bothered because there's nobody fucking around, you know. And I can just, I'm free to practice whatever moves I want to do for as long as I feel like it. And, you know, I enjoy that because the longer I can practice, the more stalls I can do, the more grinds I can do, the better I get on this ledge and no one fucks with me, the better I'm going to be in the session tomorrow when I'm with all my homeboys and we're busting out our best shit. Make sense? Alright, so if we notice this ledge right here has a real good roll up. Either side. On my natural side or my unnatural side. But either way, I'm going to wax up both of these ledges. So remember what I was talking about in your bag? I got some wax. This wax has a nice little groove in it already. Now all I'm doing is gently just running the wax over. You see the residue right there? Little waxy residue. I'm going to take one stroke across the whole thing like this. Boom. Okay, that hits the corner. Now what's going to happen is the sun is actually going to melt this wax in along with the friction. Now I want to put one, you know, about 2 inches on the top and about 2 inches on the bottom. So we'll run across and we'll do that. Right there. See that? Boom. One across the top, one across the bottom. Good. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do this on the other side as well. Now what you notice, see the connection point right here? Okay, about 2 inches on the top, 2 inches on the bottom, depending on which way I go. Mostly I don't even connect with that. I'm just going to hit in the corner and smoothly grinding across. Boom. Remember that you guys don't need to over wax anything. Okay, a lot of people, they just, what we call is dripping with wax, and that's when you just rub the bar, and that's what a lot of posers will do because they think, oh, I need more wax on this curb. What you want to do is start small. In fact, you can even streak it like broken lines, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and the wax will actually, as it's melting, it will connect to one another. So it'll be an even thinner coat of wax. You need just a light sheen of wax across the top, you know, and that's just going to allow you to sail across the curb. Okay? If you use too much wax, you just slip out. And to reverse the waxing process, then we need to use steel wool or sandpaper, like we talked about earlier. Yeah, fellas, what's cracking? Had a great session at the library right now. Now, here's the kicker. A lot of haters will say, why don't you just rollerblade it? Why don't you just skateboard the ledge? Why don't you BMX bike it? Well, here's the thing. There's a real reason that I'm actually out today. I didn't actually wake up to go session at the library. What I'm really out to do, see, this belt I have right here is all fucking fucked up on the buckle. It's broke. And I need to go get a new skater belt. So I'm actually here at the mall. But on the way walking to the mall, obviously I can't skate in the mall. They'll make me take my skates off anyway, and I don't feel like walking around the mall in my socks. So why not put on a pair of soap shoes, and then on the way, as I'm walking to the mall, oh look, there's a curb right here. I can grind that, duck this fucking car right here. I can come over here and grind this. I can walk by the library and hit that ledge that I've been wanting to hit for like the last 6 months, but because it's been open every day, but now it's a holiday. And on my way to the mall to get a belt, I could just go ahead and keep grinding. You know what I'm saying? Keep that skater vibe going. And that's what it is. Well, I'm gonna go shopping. And what's I already see shit to grind in here in the store. If I had a cameraman, then I'd be busting out. I'd probably get kicked out. Anyway, I'm gonna walk through the mall. I'm gonna pick up a belt, and maybe we'll grind. We'll see if there's a fountain in here or something to grind. We'll see what's up. We'll see you in a minute. Yeah, just got out of Hot Topic. Got a new belt, so my pants are staying up now. Walked out of the parking structure. Lo and behold, look at this. Look at this rail right here. Look how sick this is. Look how quiet it is. It's almost eerie. There's no security around, you know. I was just out here smoking a cigarette. Got done with my shopping. I feel like grinding. I mean, see something like that. I mean, hey, I don't have my skates there at the house, but I got a bust. I got a bust. Look at this, like, oh, so smooth on my feet. That's called footing, by the way. See, I run my foot on the rail, and you can see the friction because I got the groove. Now, if there was not a groove, it would just be like, whoosh, whoosh, you know, real slick. You know, hot chick walks by, I might want to like skate this rail, bust out, get her number real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how we do it. But I would just get on here, boom, glasses fall off. I don't give a fuck. Bust out, and it's like, oh, it feels good. You know what I'm saying? Alright, here's some cool shit for you right here. I'm on the roof right now in the parking structure. I want you to look over here, and you see how there's the coping that's running along that power conduit probably. There's a little rail, a little ground rail that's running along here to the AC vents. Those are perfect things to grind. And if you can figure out how to get onto that roof, you can session there. And that's some real shit. Alright guys, here we are. We're going to talk about sessioning. And today, session this bench. Now essentially sessioning is basically like, that's the essence of soaping. That's going to be the most social form of soaping. Guys getting together. Now this is after, like what we discussed earlier, stalls. You know, talk about some of the basics. So now you got the forms in your head. You know the names of the tricks. You know the forms of how to do them. You know frontside. You know backside, royale, backslide, fast slide. Okay? So now that you know that shit, now it's time to get out there and start practicing. Okay? So you're not gonna just walk up to, you know, a 20 step right here and bust out, you know, the biggest grinds. You want to start small. You want to start sessioning on curbs, ledges. What the lenches? Lenches? Things like bus benches. This is a little park bench right here. You know, nice ledge. Shorter handrails. Steps of stairs. You can wax those up. You can grind those. You know, little tiny. There's a lot of all kinds of little obstacles that you can practice on. And now there is a next step beyond sessioning, and we're going to get to that. But right now, we're going to session this bench. And I'm going to kind of show you how that goes. Basically, what's happening, I can either be by myself, I can go out session in the middle of the night like I am right now. Right now, I'm going to practice an acid boardwalk on this bench. Okay? And I'm going to practice that acid boardwalk until I get it down, or as good as I can do today. you know. And or I could session with friends. Maybe I can call up a buddy and say, hey, let's go soaping, let's go session that 10-step down by the bus stop right there. So sessioning is basically where you're choosing one object or one obstacle. Doesn't have to be a grind. I could session an 8-step gap. I could session a 4-gap 4. I could session a cone. Okay, I could go to like an orange cone, and I could basically practice doing a mute over the cone. Like this little handicap thing right here, I could session this. Maybe I want to work on a backslide cess slide. You know what I'm saying? Blast up the top and just go over the top into the grass, and just practice that technique. I could just session this handicap thing that looks like a fucking dick, you know, for hours on end, you know, until I get it down where I'm really proficient, where I can move on to the next level, what I was talking about before, which is actually called line soaping, okay? But before we get to that, we're gonna do a little session on this curb, and this is how it's gonna go, okay? Basically, you're gonna choose, you know, arbitrarily the way that your side is, like I talked before, natural versus goofy footed, okay? Now, I'm natural, but since this is a topside trick, what I'm doing is called an acid boardwalk. Basically, I'm going to be in acid position on this foot, okay? And the back foot is going to be sliding on my toe. It's like that. You know what I'm saying? When I come from this side doing an acid boardwalk, it's almost like doing a backside unity. Except again, I'm on the toe. So I'm going to just do that. And I'm going to keep doing that acid boardwalk for, I don't know, half an hour, maybe an hour. I'm just going to do the same trick over and over. That doesn't mean when you're sessioning you have to do the same trick. You know, you might want to be working on 3 different tricks, or maybe, you know, all week, you know, you've been sessioning doing royales and you're starting to get that balance. You really want to just try to get that foot up and start hitting that backslide, okay? So you might want to session doing royale. You get comfortable, you're like, hey, I'm hitting this royale every time. It's time to step it up a notch, you know what I'm saying? It's time to go big. And you're gonna start with like a freestyle backslide, you know what I'm saying? What's a backslide, but you're not grabbing. Get used to that, and then start hitting that grab, and then switch it up from there. All of a sudden, you know, you can go to inside grab backslide, you can go to rocket backslide, you can go to stale backslide, okay? Anyway, let's bust out a little acid sidewalk, and then we're gonna move on. That's that freestyle backslide for you. You know what? I didn't like that so well. I kind of want to... I'd like to do it with maybe my hands like this. I want to widen up the stance. So as I'm sessioning, I'm just going to do it again. I walk right back to the same spot. So I'm saying I'm going to do that over and over until I'm just nailing it every time. So that's it. Get your session on, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Alright guys, so we just recently talked about sessioning, okay? Just to revamp on that subject, sessioning was where I pick a specific object, for example this curb, and then could be by myself, could be with 10 other soapers, and we specifically just hang out in this spot and grind that curb over and over, you know what I'm saying, till the fucking sun comes up. I might practice different tricks on it, I might just specifically work on just one trick all day when I'm sessioning, or I might do a bunch of tricks. But there's a lot more objects, as you can see, in the world. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to just session one spot. I have my particular places I like to session, specific rails like that are the right height, the right dimension, the right slickness, like, you know what I'm saying, the surface texture is just right. That's where I like to practice my tricks. But the world isn't perfect. There's a lot of different objects. So beyond sessioning, there's something called line soaping. Sessioning is actually a prerequisite for line soaping. And there is a more advanced level above line soaping, and we're going to get into that. But right now I want to explain to you the concept so that after you're done sessioning and you're getting proficient at your tricks, for example, you session on a curb all day working on your backslide, you got it good. So then you go to another rail and you session. Now you got the shit down. Now you might want to add that backslide into a line. Now a line, by definition, is basically sessioning multiple objects. For example, I'm going to work on a line right now. I see this little wall right here. You know, I'd like to do a trick over that wall. I'm thinking a monkey plant. So I'm going to monkey plant over the wall. I'm then going to walk over to this red zone right here. I'm going to front side across the red zone. And then over here, there's a little bush. I like that bush. Personally, I'd rather have it shaved. But right now, since there's a bush, we're going to hit that. I'm going to do a switch safety grab over the bush. Okay? And that's my line. I'm going to just basically work on these three objects. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do that shit over and over until I get that line down perfect. So basically, not only am I specifically targeting three different tricks, I'm also targeting different surfaces. I'm doing a stunt, I'm doing a grind, and I'm doing an air, a jump. I'm also working my cardiovascular system. Again, like I said, soaping, surfing, skateboarding, whatever, it's all exercise. And exercise is classed as moving the body around, which is what we're doing. Right here, you know, I'm working these different muscles and getting stronger. Now, if I can do this line, if I want to, I could add the next curb, the next curb, or the next curb, and do 5, 6 objects. I can keep going. I can make the line as long as I want. And then I go back and I do the line again. So let's hit this line right now. I'm going to show you. I'm going to walk through this line, and then I'm going to bust this line so you see what it looks like. So basically, what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk over here. I'm going to monkey plant over this wall. Bam. Plant down. Basically doing a 540 rotation. Planting with the hands like a 540 hand plant in a way. I'm going to be landing fakie. Bam. So we're landing backwards. Fakie. I'm going to walk over here to this curb. Okay. Don't worry, you can take your time. You can make the line short, long. Some obstacles are closer together. We're going to front side this curb. I'm going to switch this up. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do front side to 270 mute out. Bam. Okay. And then we're going to just continuously walk over here. You can walk, you can run. Again, soaping is a free form sport. If you think it's cooler to run, maybe you want to walk, maybe you want to walk chill. You know, you can add in things like a solo. You can go 360 solo. You can hit a mono. You might want to cess slide in between. And right here, I'm going to jump. I'm going to hit it like this. I'm going to go switch, safety grab. I'm going to land. And that's my line. And I'm just going to work on that line for like, I don't know, the next hour. You know, until I get it down fucking perfect. Until I get it perfect 10 times in a row. So not only am I perfecting my skill and my consistency, I'm also getting a fucking hell of a workout. Which again, like I said, packed up, protein bars. Shit, I even have a banana right here. And it fell out of my pocket. Fuck. world is your playground, fellas. Soap it up. Switch ups. This is what's going to give you prestige and status in the community. Let's talk about switch ups for a second. A switch up, okay, is when we have two or more tricks into one grind or stunt. Now, because you can switch up aerial moves as well. What's going to happen is, in part 2, we discussed all the different forms and stances. We discussed front sides, unities, pedo grinds. Alright? So you know the basics. But what's interesting is that you can actually do two or more tricks in the same trick. For example, over here in this little late night session on this bench right here, I'm going to do a unity to fast slide switch up. Okay? You guys remember the unity, right? The cross-legged grind, the Indian grind. Okay? Now, I'm going to approach this bench right here, and I'm going to unity it. You can see that right here. Then, I'm going to approach this bench and I'm going to do a fast slide. You know, the one-footed grind where I'm grinding on the inside groove of the front plate. Now I'm going to show you a unity to fast slide switch up. Now, if you see in the trick here, I'm jumping on unity. But if you see right here, I switch it up. Boom! Now I'm going fast slide. And you see I'm coming off fakie right here. So what's happening is I'm putting two tricks into one. Now you can step it up even more. The more, you know, consistent you get at your tricks, when you're able to just bust them like nobody's business, you can not only just do switch ups, you can start doing double, triple, and even quadruple switch ups. And that shit is gonna fucking really step up your game. So once you get the basics down, again, we talked about stalls. You start stalling, you get the stance down, then you start actually grinding, you got the trick. Now you're out doing lines. Now you can add switch ups into your lines. So when you get to that level, you're in that state of meta soap we were talking about. Like I said, the world is your playground. You could just go anywhere, hit this curve, jump on, front side to backside, come off fakie. Might walk over there. I see these little, I don't know what it's something to keep the cars out, these little parking things. Hop over one of those. There's some flat walkway, like handicap rails over there. I could definitely see, you know, jumping on that backside, switching over to front side, then even switching over to backside again. Hit a triple switch up. And then just go along your way. Wherever you're going, you'll just be able to bust out. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're going to work, whether you're going to school, whether it's 7 in the morning, you're going back to detention. A lot of soapers, you know, skating, always get sent to detention. Sure. Just throw spitwads. Fuck them. Anyway, that's switch ups, and we will see you in part 4. Now, my soaping adventures have led me to some unusual places, that's for sure. I want to talk about a subject called microcalibration. So you guys know what calibrate means. To calibrate something, it basically means you're finely tuning it. Tweaking and peaking, you know? Making something that's already pretty good even better.
For me, when I do a trick, for example, when I'm in a Royale stance, you know, a lot of people, they don't know what to do with their hands. Sometimes their hands are out like this, and they look retarded, like they're spastic. Now, you're still doing a Royale, but you guys that are like, you know, you guys that don't have control of the other parts of your body, you're losing points. We see you. You know, you jump on and you think you Royaled it, but your hands are all over the place. It doesn't mean that you're a bad soaper or a bad athlete. It just means that you might not be aware of particular things. A long time ago, after a video shoot, I would go home and then I'd watch the video. I put the video in slow motion, I'd sync it up to music, and then I'd just watch my stance. And then I'd want to start kind of tweaking and peaking my behaviors of the body language that I was exuding. For example, one time, you know, I jumped on unity grind, cross-legged grind, Indian style grind, and my hands were like kind of weird. Now I got mad props. There was a little 10-step unity, you know, and it was dope. It was a lot further advanced of the trick than other people were doing at the time. So I got mad respect on the streets, but I wasn't satisfied with it myself. See, I look at it and I go, no, I want it to be smooth. I want to do it effortlessly. Anyway, I'd get out there in the streets and I'd start grinding. And as I would do my Royales or my unities, I'd start like just consciously putting my hands the way that I wanted them. I wanted it to look cool. I didn't want it to be out of control. I wanted it to be just flawless. It's like one of those athletic success principles. You never want to let them see you sweat. When you bust out a move, even though that trick might have taken you years to perfect, the difficulty rating may be fucking out of 1 to 10, it might be an 11. But you don't want to let your audience know that. Some of the tricks that I did scared the shit out of me. I could probably file for disability on some PTSD type shit, because sometimes I still wake up having nightmares from some of the tricks that I tried. I unitied this one rail that had a 2-story drop on the other side. Can you imagine if I missed my front foot? I would have died. Literally. There would be no coming back from a fall like that. That would be as if I swan dived head first out of a 2-story window. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I just wake up in like a cold sweat remembering that, and I have these, it's almost like a negative image in my head of me missing that step and falling. What if? And I know it didn't happen, but it still scares the shit out of me. Anyway, when I'm on the streets and I'm doing a trick, you know, even when I start just stalling, when I'm jumping up practicing the stall on a new trick, the first thing I'm starting to think about is, how am I going to put my hands? How am I going to balance myself? What is the weight distribution going to be in percentage? You know, like a front stance, front side, obviously is going to be 50-50. A unity is 50-50, but a backslide, all my weight's on my other foot, my backsliding foot. Therefore, the weight distribution is 100 and 0. On a Royale, you know, what do you think that is? Most of the weight's here. I don't know, 70-30 maybe? A little bit's on my front. Some people maybe more like 60-40 if they're leaning forward, you know. For me, it kind of depends really on the steepness of the rail. You know, if I jump on Royale on a really steep rail, I might want to be a lot on my back foot, and I'm really going to be dependent on the groove and the rubber. And my front foot is almost just like a guide. Boom, like basically just using that as, I'm putting a little bit of weight on that and going down, and I'm really concentrating on the way that my hands are, where I'm looking, depending on the angle of the camera. If the camera's in front of me, I want to be very squared. You know, if the camera was behind me, I can go ahead and cheat it a little bit. I can lean forward and it won't notice the difference. Most importantly, if there's a hot girl who's watching us in the session, I want to make sure that my chest is really squared off to her. You know, I want to expose my neck. I want to show no fear. If I see a hot girl I want to jump on, and I want it to be perfect. When it comes to shit like that, you have one chance to get that girl's attention. At the end of the day, that's all we're doing as men. You are a sexual being. You're courting. You know, you're either demonstrating to a woman watching your session that you are either the man or not. You got one shot at that. Anyway, I really focus on calibrating my micro behaviors and everything that I'm doing when I'm grinding, so that the trick appears flawless. I want it to look like it's easy. Even though what I'm doing is I'm grinding, it's fucking dangerous. I've broken my ankle, I broke my cheekbone, I fractured 20 teeth, I dislocated my ring finger, I broke my thumb, and I put 2 giant holes in my chin that required stitches on either side. Quite a few other injuries, sprains, you know, bruises. What we're doing out there is really difficult. It's just part of the game, you know. Really try to focus on whatever it is that you're doing and just tighten it up. Just keep tightening it up. Even to this day, you know, I will still do a trick and I'll still try to figure out what can I do that will just make it that much better. What can I do to progress myself as an athlete just that much further? You know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to keep pushing forward. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Whatever I try to get into, you know, I'm going to put my heart into it. And, you know, I want to be not necessarily the best, but the best that I can be. I'm not in competition with anyone else. I'm just always going to do me. You know, when I look back into the mirror at the end of the day, I want to have feelings of pride and exhilaration. I want to lay down in my bed at the end of the night, you know, and close my eyes and feel a sensation of like euphoria, because I fucking put out the best that I could do, that I put out beyond 100%. When I was in the session this morning, I was a little nervous about doing the trick, but I fucking manned up, balls out, and I jumped on the fucking rail, and I committed to it, and I rode it out all the way to the end. Flawless. And when I landed smooth, and then I kept walking like it ain't shit. So microcalibrate.
I want to talk about a concept called meta soap. Now, we just discussed lines, switch-ups, where you actually go to a spot and specifically practice 2 or more separate obstacles within the same run, right? So that's a line. I decide, you know what? I want to unity this curve, I want to mid-vert over the wall, and then I'm going to royal down the handrail, okay? And I'm going to practice those moves over and over, and it's like I'm sessioning multiple objects, okay? And we built up from that, from sessioning, where I specifically choose one object in one location and practice on that obstacle. So sessioning is a prerequisite for line soaping. And beyond line soaping is where soaping ceases to be an activity or a sport or something I'm practicing, and a state of meta soap comes into form. Meaning, right now, I just went to the market, bought some milk, you know, got some organic milk, got some organic ice cream, eggs, and now I'm heading back home. I might stop down the street and get something to eat. But as I'm walking, oh look, there's a curve. I feel like grinding. I walk over there and hit that curve, and I continue walking. I don't stop to session the curve. I don't look at that curve and then that little, I don't know what they're called, but those things that you park in front of. And then this cone, maybe you want to 360 mute over that cone right there, you know what I'm saying? Look, there's a little gap right here, little bird shit gap. Fast plant off that curve and jump over here. Maybe that rock, maybe I want to fucking set slide over that rock. I might do it if I didn't have this camera and this tripod. The thing is, I'm out and I'm wearing soaps, but I'm not soaping. I'm just being. This is the way that I move through life. For example, I'm kind of bored, I got some shit on my mind. Just went through a fucking breakup with some bitch. Just got me stressing. I'm gonna go take a walk. You know, I'll throw on my headphones, get my iPod, get a YouTube playlist, music list, whatever, and I go for a walk, but I got soaps on. And as I'm walking, look, there's a curve. Oh, here's a little curvy grind right here. Bam, hit around that corner, backside land. Yeah. And then I walk over to Starbucks, get a little fucking chai tea. Then I wanna, as I'm leaving Starbucks, I might wanna fucking mid-vert over that wall. Bam. See that little grate right there? It's probably slick.
fucking royal set slide over that shit. Maybe jump through these bushes. Whatever. But again, this is meta-soap. This is a mindset. This is where I walk through the world and I see everything as a grindable object. I see that fence over there. You know what I'm saying? See this fence in front of here? I see a bus stop. I could climb up on that fucking roof by the fire escape and grind that fucking outside ledge. Maybe up on top of Smashburger right there. Everything I see can be grinded. It was made to be grinded. Now this is a soaper's mentality. Now these normal fucking people that are just commuting for their 9 to 5, they ain't about shit, they ain't doing shit with their life, they're just working. They're slaves for someone else. They're helping rich people get richer. As a skater, even when I was a blader, I'd be skating down the street and it's like, bam, I want to hit something. But I keep going, I don't stop. Keep going, oh, here's a bus stop, pop, Topside Soul. Keep going. So it's not like, hey guys, do you want to go out skating? It's just like, no. A skater is who I am. It's not something like I'm trying to be. It's not about, you know, let's go out sessioning that rail. Now that's a good start. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoy soaping or skating, skateboarding, whatever, you like to get a little cardio, and sessioning is great. Fucking work your abs, you know what I'm saying? Work your legs, cardiovascular system, you know what I'm saying? But later, you know, as you progress, as your consistency improves, meaning you can hit every trick first time, perfect, you don't fucking fall, you got your shit down. You know what I'm saying? Now just everything is just waiting to be grinded. And the fact like you got soaps on, well, if I wanna slide on this rock, I could do that. You know what I'm saying? If I wanna eat lunch right here and then just fucking mid-vert over this wall, bam! Maybe get up on this thing. Again, climb up on their fucking roof. I could grind this thing. I could jump up on this. And I could royal back down that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I could do that in soaps. I can't do that in skates. All these obstacles that are off limits. You know, like I said, the rails, the red rails by Ninja in Magic Mountain. You can't get your blades on and hit those rails. You can't hit the rail that's off the side of the cliff at Yosemite or Niagara Falls or anything like that. You can't grind on the wood seat inside the dry sauna inside Gold's Gym with your skates. But you can sneak some wax in there with your soaps. Get a fucking sauna going, bam! One time, Danny and I were just fucking kicking it at the 24-hour fitness in the steam room, and that motherfucker, like wearing nothing but a towel, just fucking gets up and busts on the tile. It was already slick as fuck from, you know, the water, the mist, the hot mist, whatever. And it wasn't like, hey, let's go session that tile curb. It's just like, no, we're just soapers. We're rocking soaps. The fuck is that shit? And that's just a way of life. Anyway, when you start going through the world like that, like when you see everything, it's like, I can grind this. That's when you're starting to enter that state of meta soap. And the further you progress into a state of meta soap, it will actually start to induce soaping dreams. And we're gonna get more into that and visualization in a future segment. Right now I gotta get back to the house and eat dinner. And then it's time for a late night session. It's night. I put glow-in-the-dark laces in my soaps because I like to keep it fun, fresh, flashy. I'll be sessioning, some bitches are like, this doesn't have a skateboard. Like, what's these fucking shining shoes with lights and glow shit on them? Anyway, night session, that's where it's at. We'll see you back on the next segment, and get ready. I want to talk about a concept called mastery. The concept of mastery is when a person makes a personal commitment towards a journey. Becoming a master at soaping is when you can take control out there on the streets. Mastery is when you don't feel confused or helpless. It's when you can control your own destiny rather than it controlling you. It's about moving from cause to effect. It's about moving from a stage in life where you're sitting at the session and you're watching things happen to moving to a place in your life where you make things happen. Along this path, you're going to have to deal with a lot of fears and frustrations. You might think to yourself, what if I can't grind that whole rail? What if I fall? What if everyone laughs at me? What if I can't jump that high? You have to be able to put all those fears aside. You have to overcome any obstacle. You're going to have to realize that it's okay to make a mistake. You're going to fall. It's going to happen. But you have to find it in yourself to overcome that and to keep going. I think you know deep down inside that those feelings of discomfort, they're going to subside. They're going to go away eventually. I think you know that when you get this part of your life handled, when you get out there and you practice and you become proficient at the tricks, that soaping is going to be fun. That you're going to be able to go out to the sesh. You're just going to be able to bust out. You're going to be able to hang with your friends. Be able to kick it. Feel like grinding. You can hit the rail. And it's going to be all good. You got to remember that a lot of people out there, they might not be too happy with what you're doing. You know, there's a lot of haters out there. You have to remember that you're not there in the session to entertain other people. If you grind the rail, you've got to grind it for you. It's kind of crazy because a lot of people they'll hate, they'll judge you. And even if you get really good, even if you begin to achieve monumental success out there, you might go pro, some company might sponsor you, they might just like watching you grind, they put you on a commercial, and people are going to hate you more. So you can't be doing this for other people. You have to do it for yourself. You're not there in the session to entertain. You're not a dancing monkey. You'll notice that on the path to mastery, you might feel that you are progressing in stages of, let's say, peaks and valleys. For example, you may be on the up and up for a while. Oh man, I learned a new trick and I was just busting out. And then you notice you kind of fall off a little bit. You may even plateau for a while. Then you start coming up again. You might have to fall off and plateau a little bit. Coming up. Anyway, you notice that either way, you're still always progressing. As long as you keep going. Sometimes when you're in these declines or these little plateaus, you may be so close to advancing, but this could be any kind of an issue. This could be a psychological issue. This could be a physical issue. You know, you might start off and you're learning all the basic tricks, and then you start to tell yourself, oh, I can't really jump on that rail, it's too high, or that gap's too big, and you kind of fall back a little bit. You know, it could be a physical issue. You may not physically be able to jump that high. There's a lot of grommets out there that are only, 3 3-4 feet tall and they can't hit the big rails yet. But if you stick with it in time, you're gonna grow, you know, and you'll be able to hit that soon. It could, but again, it could be another physical issue. You may have school, you may have work, homework. You don't have the physical time it takes to practice to get to the next level, you know. There could be a lot of different things, but if you stick with it and you keep going, you know, this is the path to soaping mastery, you know, and you just want to keep progressing, keep pushing forward. Also take notice that the more time that you're out there practicing, the longer you're soaping, the more you're out on the streets, you'll start to notice that the way that you see things from where you're at now or from where you started will become much more profound. You know, when I first started skating, the only thing I knew was to jump on a picnic table and 360. Now I walk through the world and I see the possibilities of endless grinds. Shit, even my table over here, you know. And when I first started, I wasn't consciously aware of any of those possibilities. I didn't even know what grinding was. The only concept I had when I was younger about grinding was a Nintendo game called TNC Surf, where you play a character of a gorilla. He could do rail slides on a skateboard, but I didn't think you were able to do that in real life. I thought it was just a video game. But now, you know, I can do it myself here in physical reality. I've got soaps on right now. If I want, I can go outside and I can actually grind that rail. You see what I'm talking about? You just keep pushing forward. Just stick with it. Another thing that's really important on your path to mastery in this sport is that you're probably not going to be able to progress there by yourself. You're going to need a team. Now, there are other guys out there in this community. They're all over the planet. A good buddy of mine, Greg Krellin, who's out there in Australia, he runs a Facebook page called the Melbourne Soapers. My homeboy, T. Wayne, out there in New Hampshire, he'd be doing it big. There are people in Poland and Iceland that email me up that ask, when am I coming to town so they can soap? There are people all over the planet that are getting down. And this is where it's up to you guys to step up and become a leader and become a figure of authority in our community. And you can easily do that by starting to post more pictures of yourself. Post pictures on Instagram and hashtag everything to soap shoes. You can get on Facebook and create your own soaping page in your own town. You gotta spread this shit like religion, you know? You gotta start passing on the information. Share the Relate videos with your friends. There might not be as big of a soaping community as there could be, but if you keep pushing forward and you guys band together, we can be a bigger army than anything out there. You might think that no one's soaping anymore. I guarantee you that you're wrong. And I guarantee you that there is someone out there right now who is waiting to connect with you. Start a group. Become a leader. Become the man. I give you the power to do that. I want you guys to be able to take this to a whole new level. Okay? I want you guys to be able to get out there and get so good at this shit that you can actually teach it to other guys. Some of you guys know I have a black belt in martial arts. I've been doing karate, martial arts, mixed martial arts since I was 8 years old, since the Ninja Turtles came out. Now, I went through Shorin-ryu for quite a few years. I got a black belt in Taekwondo, done Kung Fu, Jiu-Jitsu, Ninjutsu, grappling, wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, you know, I'm still into all that. I'm still part of that community, that subculture. Now, I have a black belt, but what does that mean? A black belt doesn't mean that I can whoop everyone's ass. It doesn't mean that I'm the best martial artist, the best ninja in the world. A black belt really means just a couple things. Basically, it means that I know all the tricks, but more importantly, it's because I know them so well that I can teach them to someone else. And the other thing with being a black belt is that now I can judge a fight. I can judge the points. I know the point system and how to score for whatever, you know, competition, whatever kind of event is going on, punches, kicks. I know that one is like, you know, 2 points, one is 3 points, one is, you know, if he does a certain move, it's a whatever, you know, like, that's what that means. When you become a master, it doesn't mean that you're the best, it just means that you're good enough now to teach the information to the next guy. I want you to become really selfish. I want you to take the time to learn this information. Even these videos that I'm showing you here. Watch this series 100 times in a row. I guarantee, as you're watching it the first time through, you're only getting part of the information. Your brain can only record what you're ready for. After you go through this whole series, watch it again, and then watch it again, and then watch it again. And then share it with a friend, and watch it together and discuss it, talk about it. Leave comments, you know, get other people to leave comments. Share the video. You know, the more that you're absorbed to this material, the more it's going to become integrated into you. The more it's going to become a part of you. And then, as you travel along this path, let's say you get all the way up to the top of the mountain. You're busting out every trick. You know everything there is to know about soaping. Like, which I'm not even there yet. Tomorrow is a new day. There's going to be some new obstacle tomorrow that I encounter that I've never grinded before. Like, I was in the Bank of America, you know, and I'm trying to think of how can I grind the counter. There's 8 cameras on me. These dudes are watching me. Yet, I figured out how to do that, you know, and I was in there with Danny. This is way back in the day, and you know, I just basically had him kind of disturb the dude, and he just starts, you know, making a nuisance of himself, just kind of like goofing off. And anyway, drew their attention long enough to where I was able to jump on the ledge backside, you know, and nail that shit. I grinded a fucking bank, you know. You can grind the counter when you're getting a Whopper at Burger King, you know. There are so many different obstacles, the ledges, you know, that are in front of the castle at Disneyland. Anything. Now, and like I said, tomorrow I might be walking to the store and something new will just pop onto my radar, and I'm gonna have to figure out, how do I grind that thing? How, you know, it might be a rock. It might be, okay, what kind of surface area? How am I gonna slide across this? You know, am I gonna have to come here in the middle of the night when security is not, you know, around so that I can wax this little curb that I see by the parking structure? You know, there's always going to be a next level. Now what's going to happen is you're going to progress. You're going to become great. But the thing is, your life is bigger than soap. You know, and if all you're doing is soap, 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 there's all these other areas of your life that you're missing. So eventually, you know, you got school, you've got family, you know, you've got girlfriends, you guys, you know, need time off to go to the beach. Maybe you're also into other subcultures. You know, myself, I soap, but I'm also a rapper. I also do tattoos. I do martial arts. You know, I'm really into the rave scene. So there's other issues and other things in my life. So at one point, I want you to take the time to learn this material and get really good. And then I want you to take soaping from the center of your life and just turn it into a part of your life. Because there's always going to be a new level. You're always expanding as a human being. For me, at this point, you know, when I was 17, soaping and skating, that was it. But now, where I've reached the stage of mastery myself, now it's just part of my life. And now I've got, you know, this business that I'm doing, this book that I'm writing, this other thing, this other thing, this other thing. But it's always there. And anytime I want, I just go to my closet, put on a pair of shoes, and it comes back. It's like riding a bicycle. I want you guys to take this to a whole new level. Soaping is gone. The old days of front-siding on curves at the beach, wearing, you know, shorts and Hawaiian shirts. This is bigger than that now. I want you guys to take this to the next level. I call that level meta soap. We'll discuss it more on here. The more you do this, when you get this installed on your brain, when everything's just a program running on your autonomic nervous system, when all these neurons are in place, when you're in a state of unconscious competence like we were talking about earlier, you're going to be able to grind anything. Anything you see, just be able to walk through the world and hit it. Like backslide, boom. 270, boom. You'll be walking through the world like a soaping wizard. Like a Jedi Knight. Walking around. Boom. Spin. Gap. Anything. We're on the verge of creating an entirely new subculture. So for all you meta soapers out there, get ready. Turn the world into your playground. I want to talk to you guys about something really important. We're going to talk about marijuana. I smoke marijuana. I get faded. I'm a skater. It's part of skater life. Now, you guys might have heard a lot of misconceptions about marijuana. Weed, bud, dope, reefer. You know what's up. Anyway. The main reason that the elite, I'm not talking about the government, I'm talking about the people who run the government, the super elite, the multi-billionaires. See, they don't want you to have weed, because weed does something. So it's something very important. It makes you think. And if I'm running a country, first of all, I don't want to be in competition with anyone else. But if I'm at the top of the food chain, I don't want you thinking. I want to keep you dumb enough to just do a bullshit job. I'm going to design the educational system in a certain way to compartmentalize your brain so that, you know, you'll spend 18 years of your young life in school, and then you'll go to college trying to think that a degree will get you that job so that you can, you know, most likely work at Taco Bell, you know, and you can work all the way till you're 62 and retire, get a shitty little Social Security pension, and then die probably with less than $1,000 to your name, if that. They want to keep you dumb. I never bought into that. Never bought into any of that shit, you know. I'm really anti-government, you know. I do my own thing, I'm my own man. I don't like to have someone over my head, you know, the antagonizing feeling of being micromanaged. I'm my own man, you know, I do my own thing. Anyway, the reason this is important for soaping is because one of the most important things that I did, and not a lot of people know about this except, you know, close friends of mine, is that not every day. When something becomes the center of your life, that's no good, you know. Sometimes I smoke and it might be 6 months go by and I'll smoke again. When I was soaping, you know, I'd be soaping and fucking, I'd go home at night, you know. First of all, I'd be soaping all day, and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd go out fucking, you know, 4 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., meet up with Jose. We'd be skating at the high school before school, you know, lunch, recess, whatever. I'd be soaping, you know, or hanging with my girlfriend. And then after school, you know, if I wasn't working, I'd be out soaping till fucking 1 in the morning. But still, I'd go home at night, and after a sesh, I didn't just go to sleep. I had this little aluminum pipe, a little cool blue aluminum pipe that my homie Damien got for me from Venice Beach Boardwalk. And I had this, I always kept my weed in this hollowed out book, you know, hide it from moms and shit. And I pack it up and I just, you know, smoke by my little bedroom window and shit. Kind of like this, you know. But then what I would do is, I'd get high as fuck, dude, and, you know, weed would help me visualize even more clearly. You know, there's ways you can open airplane. There's ways that you can open your pineal gland, your third eye, and you can visualize almost in HD, but, you know, you have to have a real clear system to do that. And we're going to talk about that part 4 later on in this section. But weed can kind of give you a little head start. Anyway, so I would go home and I'd start putting on the soap videos. We had this, the first one, the 97 national sales commercial, the 98 one, whatever. Skate videos, I watched a lot of skate videos. My favorite one was Elements. That was like the, you know, the
at the end of the 90s, that was like, I think that was one of the top videos. At least I like the soundtrack and shit, but I'd watch all the skate videos, even from like Mad Beef, VG3, VG4, Hoax, Mr. Moose Knuckles, all that shit, Nickel and Dime. Anyway, I'd watch those things, and I wouldn't just watch it. I saw a lot of skaters, they would just watch it and they're kind of like, oh, that's cool, and they get hyped up. They get hyped up to skate, and then they'd go out and skate. They still didn't know like what the fuck they were doing, you know. They were motivated, but they didn't have like the technical skill, you know, or the ability or the mental clarity like to understand the concepts of the tricks. So I used to take my notepad out and I'd sit there and I'd write notes. Like, I'd watch John Julio, I'd be like, okay, he's fishbraining like this, and I noticed that he does it with his own style. He has his like signature to his fishbrain, and John Julio was known for that trick. You know, I'd watch Roadhouse, I'd watch fucking Dustin Latimer, Kevin Gillen, you know. Those were my skating influences. John Starr, Jake Elliott, you know. Anyway, I'd be watching these dudes, and you know, Jay Dick, that motherfucker was tight. And I just watched what they do, and I was like, okay, this is like my focus group right here. You know, this is my mastermind group. You know, and I didn't know these people, those guys in real life, but I would sit there and I would like notice the commonalities between what they would do, and then I would watch their tricks, and then I was like, okay, how can I implement some of this new school, you know, technology? These tricks are inventions, you know. I'd watch all the shit that they were doing, and I would take notes, like fucking pages and pages of notes. I'd sit there with my video camera, and I'd, you know, back in the day I had this little high 8 camera, and I'd sit there and talk to myself and give notes and, you know, stuff so that when I sobered up the next day, I could just put the plan into action. Boom. Go up there on my hot rail and I'd go practice everything I did, you know. But the weed, it would like help me see it a little more clear. I could watch it and then I'd be high, I'd be like, you know, I like to keep the lights low like this. I like a lot of candlelight, you know. And then I would just fucking like close the door to my bedroom, and then I just sit there on the floor, like meditate, close my eyes, and I could fucking see the tricks, you know. I could see them on the scroll of my mind. You know, and I would sit there and I'd focus on how I was gonna walk up to the rail, what I was gonna be wearing that day, you know. A lot of times we were doing a lot of video shoots, and you know, fashion in the 90s is a lot different than now. You know, we were big into size 50 Jinko jeans, Solo jeans, you know. And I was like, okay, what I want to do is I want to do a trick like this. I want to do a backside backslide. Boom. And I'd start visualizing it in my head, you know. I like to keep it quiet in the room like this. You know, a lot of times I would actually wear a bandana around my eyes, and I put in earplugs. Call it a blind and deaf meditation. And then I like to keep the room real dark so I could like zone out on everything and just get into that zone where it was like I was awake, but I was dreaming. You know what I mean? And this way, like in my head, I could see the move. I would visualize myself doing it. You know, jumping up on the rail, landing it. I really focus in on, you know, seeing the grind plates and the shoes connect with the rail. I wanted a really smooth lock-in, you know. And then I would focus on the stance, the balance. I wanted to like look smooth, you know. I could see in my head like the way I would come off the rail, how I would jump.
pull a spin, pull a mute, pull a safety, stale Japan. I could just see that shit. Like I said, I was addicted to this shit. Anyway, like, just thinking about it, like constantly, you know, was like, you know, I was one with it. Anyway, I'd sit there and like, other times, you know, my mom she'd travel for work, so she'd leave for like a week, and then I kind of like move into the living room, and I had the real TV set up with all the fucking soap videos, the hours and hours of footage that I had, you know, and I just sit there and watch it every night. Like I was like, gotta get better, gotta get better, gotta get better. You know, what can I do to take this sport to the next level? And then that weed, it would just like, it would take me to places that I wouldn't naturally go in my mind. You know, and that's where I started creating these concepts of like synchronized soaping, you know. And I started drawing pictures of me and Danny fucking, and I was trying to do it with like a place where there was like 5 rails, so we could all just boom, like every one of us nailed the same trick. Danny and I went out and we got like a couple pictures of us doing synchronized backslides. You know, we did a shit ton of other tricks. Like I backflipped off this 2-story roof. We were doing a lot of parkour elements before we even knew it was like parkour. It was, back then it was like I was just adding in my martial arts training into it. Like I would jump off a rail and then I would do like a dive roll, somersault. I would you know, try to create ways where I was like grinding and I wanted to like backflip off of something. I wanted to run up the wall and do backflips and shit in the middle of lines, you know, hit this rail, run over here, you know. And I wanted to like, I just wanted to take it further than what it was. And we, you know, we ended up turning in a lot of this footage, and Soap just looked at us and was like, yeah, we Soap, we don't want to really endorse this. We don't want to be known like that. We, you know, they're just you guys should just go out and like do the front sides like what they were made for. Go to, you know, hang out at the beach and slide on your shoes, you know. And it was fucked up, man. All that old footage, a lot of it, you know, was deleted off of a hard drive of mine. Back in like 2003, I lost this. There was a power outage. Shit tons of home videos, gigabytes. I had like written over 3,000-4,000 songs. I do rap shit too, music. Poof, gone. Sucks, but it, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, it's like, but weed though, you know, just sitting there and like go into a place in your mind and like being able to really visualize. I'm not saying that you need weed to do it. You can visualize on your own. It's just that it's a little different. I also do visualization, you know, sober, which it's just different. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different, you know. And but I think the most important thing was, you know, record what you're thinking about. You know, if you have an idea, you know, a new trick, you know, if you come up with something that's cool that no one's ever seen before, like, you got to write it down. There's this quote by this one dude, I forget his name, but it's basically like, you know, ideas are like slippery fish, and unless you pierce them with the point of a pencil, they just swim away, you know. And that's how it happens, you know. Ideas will just come to you out of fucking the ether, boom, in your head. All of a sudden you're like, you have this like aha moment that's like, oh shit, like I gotta do this, I gotta do, dude, if I could do this trick, you know what? Anyway, like, that shit will happen. But if you don't write it down, you know, all of a sudden, you ever had that feeling where you're like, man, I had this cool idea and I forgot it. It's like, now it's worthless, you know, it's gone.
it's back out there. But weed just, it just always helped me visualize shit, you know. And I remember sitting there at the computer and I would like retype all my notes, you know. When I was starting to think, I was like, what can I do to get better at this? You know, I see all these people doing tricks, but not a lot of switch. So what if I learn all the tricks plus doing them switch? What if I learn them all switch 270? What if I learn them all switch 270 backside? What if I add a spin off the end of that, you know? Which was kind of cool because then I'm like crushing the competition. You know, I'd go out with some friends soaping and they're trying, you know, bust out a Royale. I'm doing it now 270 switch backside with a spin out, with a mute out, and it was just like, you know, that felt good, like tearing up the competition, picking up bitches. Like we'd be soaping at the mall and fucking chicks would see us and they're like, you know, whoa, what are you doing? Like, then we're just like, yo, these are soap shoes, and they're like, oh, that's cool. You know, girls, man. So you guys, like, I don't know, skateboarders, bladers, you probably, you know, I know you probably hate on this, but I'd say out of all the aggressive sports, just what I noticed, you know, other than surfers get mad pussy. I'm not gonna, it's snowboarders too, but soapers, we get laid like rock stars. We're different, and different stands out. What do people notice? Things that stand out, you know. Bitches see us sliding in shoes, they don't know what the fuck is going on. They wanna, you know, they're compelled to like walk over. Bitches are curious, so they come over and they'll start like, what's going on here? You're sliding in shoes, you know. It's such an amazing conversational opener, you know. It breaks the ice in so many ways. We'll leave that shit for the director's cut. I put a lot of that kind of shit in the book, and we'll keep that there. But it's cool, man. So anyway, weed, for real. You know what I'm saying? It's powerful. Use your mind. Think. Use it to visualize. You don't even have to use it. It doesn't even have to be about soaping. It could be anything you want to do in your life, anything you want to progress with. You know? Don't make it the center of your life. If you catch yourself smoking every fucking day, just, it's not that that's bad, just be aware of that, because you do need to actually get out there and be productive and make shit happen. But for real, like, weed is your friend. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And on the reels, I've been working rock and roll shows for 9 years out here. Gone on little tours, done residency tours, some of the top bands in the world. Every one of those motherfuckers smoke weed. And they'll all say the same shit. It helps them create, helps them make music. You know, it motivates. It can motivate you big time. Anyway, all that dare shit, fucking cops, they don't know any better. They're ignorant, you know. They're just doing what they're told. They're like puppets on strings, you know what I'm saying? That's coming from higher up, coming from people that are, you know, put laws into action. They're, you know, they're bought. You guys know you ain't really free, you know. You're all slaves. You think you're free, but you know,
really a slave. If you were free, you wouldn't work 9 to 5 and you wouldn't be locked up in school. Public school is really just a prison for younger people, giving you the idea that you're getting an education, but the shit that they're teaching you in school, it's pretty much worthless. You want to sit there and all day and learn your times tables? For what? And you know it. You can probably feel it inside that you're never going to use that, and guess what? You're not. We got Google, there's calculators, you don't need that shit. You know, the only real skills that you need in life is how to lead other people and how to deal with people. That's how you conquer, that's how you rule. That's how you become untouchable. You can manage other people. And you become a leader of men. You know, I don't need to learn my times tables. I can go on my phone calculator and get it. If I need information about whatever subject, I can find some technical nerd to tell me what it is that I need to know. What your job is as a man is to run shit. Fuck this, I know we're going really long on this segment and we gotta move on. You get this boy faded, I'll just lecture all night, and I don't want to do that. I want to smoke and I want to chill and do my thing. But for real, like, I'm not joking. What I'm saying is, take advantage. Don't be fooled by propaganda. I'll smoke out till I hit the 10th level of meta soap, bro. Like, take it to a whole new level. Alright. Peace. I want to talk about a concept called the 4 phases of learning. Now, that's a process that your brain goes through when it's learning or acquiring new information. Now, what's going to happen anytime you're learning something new? You're going to go through a series of natural phases. Phase 1, that's called unconscious incompetence. It means you don't even know that you don't know. All the way to a state of mastery, which is known as unconscious competence. That's when a concept has become internalized. That's when it's part of you. For example, I don't, think about tying my shoes. I just do it. I don't have to consciously sit there and think about putting one lace through the other and making a bow. I just do it. For example, at one point in your life, you didn't even know what soaps were. And if you saw someone grinding, you probably thought, how is he doing that? And then you ask, like, did you put soap on the bottom of your shoes? Or you think, did you forget your skateboard? That's the first phase. And that's called unconscious incompetence. It means you don't even know that you don't know. Now, when I first started soaping, I had to consciously think, like, okay, I'm going to walk up here, I'm going to jump on, I'm going to slide, I got to dismount. But after so many years of repetition, for example, if I wanted to go do a royale, boom, it just happens. I don't think about it. So I'm going to take you through this process right now. Do you guys remember drawing Punnett squares? Probably around the 4th grade. Okay, 4 phases. This is going to be phase 1. This is going to be phase 2. This will be phase 3. And finally, phase 4. Now, let's start here. Again, this is called unconscious incompetence. Okay. Let's go back to when you were a baby. Okay. You probably don't remember the first time that you put on baby shoes because you didn't put them on. Your parents put them on you. Okay, they put the shoes on, little baby booties, they tied them, you know. And about the time that you were, you know, until the time you were 2 to 3, you were oblivious to the concept of even wearing shoes, or that shoes even had laces. Okay, you were unconscious and you were incompetent of the concept of tying your shoes. Now when you were about 2, 3 years old, your parents probably sat you down and said, you're going to learn how to tie your own shoes. You probably started freaking out as you're looking at this shoe and you see these laces and I don't know what to do. What am I even looking at? But at that point, you then became conscious that 1, there was a thing such as laces, and 2, that there is a concept of tying your shoes. Okay? So what happened is you became consciously incompetent. Okay? So phase 2 is conscious incompetence. I now know, but I can't do it yet. Conscious incompetence. Okay. Okay. So now, what happens is I'm moving to phase 3. Okay. This phase is called conscious competence. Okay. I can, with a consciously applied effort, now tie my shoes. It means I can sit down and I'm starting to learn it because I've been using repetition. Okay? Remember here, I was conscious of it, but I was incompetent, so I couldn't do it myself. But now that I'm consciously competent, I can sit down and I can focus and say, okay, this lace, this right lace goes over this lace, pull it through, I make a bow, I tie it around, I pull the bow, I got it, I got it. Now you don't actually get it yet, but you're getting it, okay? So what happens here, after so much repetition, okay, after you've possibly observed someone else doing it a bunch of times, after you've done it yourself hundreds of times, you start to actually internalize it. It starts to become a part of you. And you finally move into the 4th stage, which is unconscious competence. Okay, this means I do it without thinking. Boom, it just happens. I don't have to think about tying my shoe. I just do it. Okay, my shoe's undone, I bend down, I tie my shoe. I don't have to think consciously which lace goes over which. The unconscious competence. So what's happening right here, as you're going through this process, your brain is creating new neurons. They're called dendrites. Okay? Now it takes roughly 20 days to create a new pattern in your brain. There's always a gestation period, right? You know, like, it takes 9 months for a baby to be born, from the time it's conceived all the way till its birth. Okay? If I plant an apple seed in the ground today, it's going to take a little time to develop until it's actually an apple tree. It could take years. Right? Now let's take a Royale, for example. Okay? Let's imagine this bubble is a neuron in your brain. Now the first time you heard about a Royale, probably like, oh, okay, so I have to bend my feet in a weird, funky position. I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. Well, when you became conscious of the concept of a Royale, your brain actually created a new neuron. It actually became part of you. And at that point, if I asked you, what do you think about Royale? Well, you'd be like, you would. There's nothing else connected to it. All you would really know is, well, it's that stance. Now in time, these dendrites, these neurons, are going to connect to each other. See, there's other elements of the Royale. There's, for example, the approach. Okay, that's part of it. Your brain is actually recording this information. What else is there? There's the stance. Okay? There's the way that I tweak my foot. Okay, so there's muscle memory. Right? Your brain is recording all of these, and as I go through the process, as I do Royales, starting with stalls, moving onto curbs, ledges, planters, handrails, I'm doing it over and over. My brain is taking all this in, and this pattern is becoming thick. All of these neurons and dendrites keep developing, and this is getting thicker, thicker, thicker. Okay? And as time goes by, when you get to a state of mastery and unconscious competence, that's when soaping becomes really fun, because I don't have to think about the trick. I can just move through the world, boom, and it just happens. If I'm in a sesh, I don't have to think, I think I'll Royale this rail. So I'm going to have to approach. I'm going to have to calculate the velocity and the trajectory of my approach. Okay, I'm going to do it like this. I'll do a 45. Let me jump on. I'm going to hold my balance. Oh shit. None of that goes on. It just happens. Boom. I see a rail. I want to Royale it. I jump on it. It just happens. I've landed the trick before I've even thought about it. Now, when you can move through the world like that, okay, in a state of meta soap, you know, when I'm in a higher state of soaping consciousness, when everything around me I see is grindable, and I'm in a state of unconscious competence, and I can just walk around and boom, I want to hit that obstacle, I do it. I see this obstacle, boom, do it. Now, we talked about repetition. I can do something over and over and over and over and over again, and I can burn those neurons into my brain. I can burn that Royale. It's like it's a program that I'm installing on the operating system of my mind. I can do it over and over and over and over and over, and finally it will just become part of me. Now, there's another way you can do this, and this is called emulation. This is where I watch someone else do it. It's better if it's in person, but if all you've got is a soap video, then sit down and watch 2 over and over and over, you know, until your DVD player burns out. I had the express privilege of actually getting to soap with all of these pros for years. You know, I went out with, for example, before soaping, when I was rollerblading, and I was kicking it with Eddie Ramirez, who's also on the soap team. You know, he actually taught me how to fish brain. At first, I was like, oh my god, like I gotta grind the rail with my leg, you know, boned out. How am I gonna do that? Like, but hanging out with him, we were used to skate this church rail, and he would be like, he would just do it. He was just doing it. And I was like, fuck, man, I gotta step up my game if I'm gonna hang with this motherfucker. Like, I can't be
doing just royales and backslides. I got to start, you know, I got to step up my game right here. So, and I would watch him do it, and I would see the way that he would approach. So I try to do it again, you know, the same way. And I'd eat shit, you know, it would happen. But then I watch him do it on that rail. I'd watch the way he did it on a ledge. I'd ask him questions. I'd be like, well, how do you jump on there, you know? And he'd say, well, you got to do this, and you have to turn your body like in a certain way. And just seeing him doing it and starting to emulate it, I was able to, just within a very short time, soon be doing fish brains myself. Again, I started just on curves, trying to do little stalls. I moved up to ledges, and pretty soon I was fish braining 25-step handrails. Alright guys, so when you really are able to understand this concept, you're going to be able to leverage it to your advantage. Meaning that now that you're aware of this concept and the way that your brain absorbs information and processes it, you can actually use that so that you can absorb and integrate information faster and more accurately. And that's really going to help you guys out on the streets. Just keep applying this technique to every trick that you do, whether it's a front side, whether it's a fucking 270 pedo to, it doesn't matter what it is, every single trick is going to be processed the same way. So just understand that when you're learning something new, it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be able to jump on the handrail and do it all in one day. It's a process. It takes time. Your muscles have to adapt. And your brain is actually rewiring itself for success. So just get out there and keep practicing. Okay? Repetition, repetition, repetition. And just while we're on that, I want you to remember one thing. Practice doesn't make perfect. It's perfect practice makes perfect, okay? If you're just half-assing it on the streets and you're doing the trick half-ass, your brain is going to record your bad performance. Does that make sense? So if you're going to do anything, do it right. Do it as to the best of your ability. And in time, that's the program that your brain is going to record. Okay? So every trick, man up, balls out, and grind it. And grind it and stay on it all the way to the end. Alright guys, we'll see you on the next one. I want to talk about centering. Sometimes when you're out in the session, you might feel frustrated. You might feel angry. You might be trying to bust that rail and you just keep busting your ass over and over. You're like, I did this yesterday, like, why the fuck can't I hit it today? Maybe you're trying a new trick that you never tried before. Centering is an activity that we can use that's going to give us mental clarity and focus so that you can actually get back on that rail and bust. So here's what I like to do. Let's imagine that I'm in the session. I want to just take a few minutes to kind of stop and shake everything off. I want to take a few deep breaths. I want to breathe in through my nose, and I want to breathe out through my mouth. Okay, I want to just relax. I want to take notice of my surroundings. Look around and just acknowledge that, hey, I'm having a difficult time with this, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be busted out right this minute. I don't need to have it right now. I can relax. Then I want to just close my eyes. I want to start to relax. I want to relax my forehead. I want to relax my temples, my eyelids. I want to relax my cheekbones. And as I'm doing this, I'm continuing to breathe very deep in through my nose and then out again through my mouth. I want to relax my neck. I might want to roll my neck a little bit. I might want to roll my shoulders a little bit, back and forth. I like to do this stretch with my arms. I'm going to pull that like that. I like to pull it on the top. This basically stretches out my triceps. This hits my latissimus dorsi. Maybe a little bit on the obliques. I hit that stretch like that. I want to mirror it on the other side. I want to breathe deep. Each stretch I want to do it for about 7 to 10 seconds. That, if you don't hit it that long, you're not really isolating the muscle enough to do anything. Hold my shoulders a little more. I want to relax, my stomach, my chest, my elbows, my forearms, my hands. I want to relax my fingertips. I like to stand on one foot and kind of roll my ankle. If you guys need balance standing on one foot, you just pinch your earlobe ever so slightly. And you can stand on one foot all day. I might want to pull my foot up and stretch my quads. Allow yourself to detach from the present moment. Just stop what you're doing and accept everything for what it is. I want to release any feelings of resistance. I want to make my body feel good. I want to clear my mind and eliminate any mental chatter. I'm going to want to detach myself from my past, from the present, from the future. I want to release identity for myself and from everything around me. I want to let go of any negative feelings of frustration, anger, resentment. I want to let go of the feelings of acceptance, wanting acceptance from anyone in the session. I want to let go of the feelings of needing to bust out to get approval from anyone in the section. I want to let go of any thoughts or of worry. Any thoughts of I can't do it, or I'm tired, or I've got homework later. I want to forget about any imagined negative outcomes. Maybe before I was thinking about, what if I fall? What if I walk up to the rail and there's a stick in the way and I stumble? Just let it go. I want to just get clear. thought arises in my head, I'm just going to acknowledge it, and then I'm just going to let it go. At that point, I want to find my center. I want to feel my center. And then I want to become the center. I want to feel all the power from the universe flowing to me and through me. And I want to open my eyes after I'm all relaxed and just kind of look around and acknowledge that I'm alive, that I'm here in this moment. Now, I might have 10 people around me in the session and they're looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck them. Don't fuck with me when I'm in my mode. They can keep grinding, they can keep doing their thing, just I need my me time for a second. I'll breathe and pull myself together. And then, operating from this perspective, I'm going to start to vision myself jumping on that rail and busting it out. With this heightened state of mental clarity, like, could you notice the difference in how you feel now versus how you just felt about 5 minutes ago? A couple minutes ago, I was about to kick this fucking rail out. Going crazy. About to fucking pack it in for the day, go home. I'm okay now. So I'm going to look at that rail now, and I'm going to envision in my mind what I'm going to do. Because now I'm ready. Now I'm about to bust. So I picture myself walking up. Before I'm even walking, I'm imagining this on the scroll of my mind. I see it. I can feel it. I can feel the tactile and visceral feelings of my feet landing and locking in on the rail. I can see it in my mind. I can almost taste the metal in the rail, like it runs through my entire being. Now I can see myself jumping on and just fucking riding it out all the way to the end. Boom. Coming off smooth. And then just keep walking. Now that I'm feeling centered, now it's time to bust. Don't think you can. Know you can. Every morning I want you to center yourself, become centered, and then become the center.
Oh yeah, just out for a walk. Kind of grinding around, hanging out. Get a little cardio, you know. I feel like going to the gym. Thought I would do some like random acts of, So what happens when the sidewalk ends? Well, if I was skating, I don't know if I'd be able to get to that nice fucking wood pile right there. Oh, it's a good thing I don't got skates on. Let's see what happens when the sidewalk ends. If I was soaps, I could just keep going. What the fuck? I think you know what time it is, guys. You really can't skate beyond this point. If I had my blades on, I would just get buried in the mud. But fucking mud booting is canceled. I wouldn't be able to hit these fucking awesome... I don't even know what these are. They look like something from a fucking bowling alley or from like... What's it called? Shuffleboard? Look at that shit. Fucking perfect surface to grind. You didn't know you could grind on fucking logs and shit with soaps. You could grind anything. But look at this shit over here. What the fuck are these? Just because the sidewalk ends doesn't mean the fun stops. Keep sliding, boy.